Ready.
Okay, we are live. I'm so excited to be with Mara. Hi, Mara. How are you?
How are you?
I'm so happy you're our first WebinART attendee person. I mean, guest. I'm looking. Oh, we already have so many attendees. I'm so excited to have you. We are going to be looking at some of your latest products. We're going to be looking at we're going to be chatting. You're going to tell us what makes a great AD. Good, I can hear you. That's good. So
Wonderful.
let me introduce everyone to the wonderful Mara. So Mara Penny is an in-demand illustrator whose stunning color palettes, I love her color palettes, fabulous portraits, and charming drawing style garner her lots of work with clients such as she's gotten several bolt fabric collections with Moda, numerous fully illustrated books, you're going to see some of those, a series of beautiful wine labels, and even magnetic paper dolls. Mara grew up in Lake Tahoe, graduated from California College of Art, which is my alma mater too in Oakland. It was called California College of Arts and Crafts back then after the arts and crafts movement, where she studied interior design and jewelry design, and that really comes through in her work. She loves fairy tales, the night sky, and sparkles. She lives in Oakland, California, and I lived there too. With her little family of 4, Mara has been represented by Lilla Rogers Studio, my agency, since March 2017. So welcome, Mara. Welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you. Where are we right now? What is this room you're in?
So I have a small house and I am in my living room, and that's my desk right behind me. I don't have a studio. I literally am in my living room in Oakland on lockdown.
And do you mostly work digitally? How do you work? What's your process?
Yeah, over the last year, I've completely moved over to my iPad fully. But so I go between, I use Adobe Sketch, and I make all my icons there, and then I bring them over into Illustrator, and then I piece everything together there.
And do you have a big iPad Pro and a pencil?
Yeah.
Do you love it?
I love it. I can't wait though for the new one that's coming out.
And my daughter Natasha wants it too, and it's like matte finish or something, so it doesn't slip, she said. And where have you worked on an illustration with that iPad? Where it's like the most unusual place you've worked? Curled up on the sofa?
I just did all of these wine labels, I guess it was last summer, and I did them in the middle of nowhere in a tent by a pond in Northern California, 7 miles from a road.
Okay, everyone. I know you're like, I want to be Mara Penny. I want that gig. I know.
Yeah,
that's so cool. And you're working on a job?
Yeah, it was the wine labels that I'll show you today that I worked on up there. I did all of those up there.
That is so great. And when you get an illustration gig, do you first do some research? Do you do sketches? Do you daydream? Do you go for a walk?
I always do a lot of research. That's actually one of my favorite parts of this. Is I love researching, especially like if I'm doing portraits of people, just to find out what like the little quirks are here and there, so I can add that to the drawing, which are, I guess, little Easter eggs for, not everybody's going to know everything about the people I'm drawing, but for those that do, like, I like to have those little surprises in there.
Did I just make it now where you can see both of us at the same time?
I can see us both. I don't know about everybody else.
You can see us both. I think for those of you that want to see us both, go to your upper right and click on gallery view, and you'll get speaker view. You'll be able to see both of us. Okay, good. Yeah, that's nice. So it doesn't toggle. Yay. I'm Lilla Rogers, by the way. I'm an art agent. I have an art agency, and Here you are in my agency.
Oh, hi, Erica.
Oh, good. Hi, Erica. We will have time for questions for sure in the chat, so we're looking forward to that. Mara, everyone loves your colors so much. What color combo are you excited about right now? What are you loving?
So I think I've been really drawn to quieter colors lately, and I'm sure it's part of the whole lockdown and just going inside and cocooning but I'm really drawn to softer, whispery colors. So right now I just did a piece with khaki and like the lightest, palest blue gray and peach with a little lemon yellow. It's delicious.
So great. That's really interesting because you're so known for your really rich and abundant color palettes. But, we all morph and change, and and it's really interesting how you're tying it to this time, which is more cocooning and softer. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I talked to an art director recently, and I said, what do you want to know from Mara? What would you like to know? And he said he would really love to know about your process. And you talked about that and doing research. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you do research, and can you give an example?
Okay, so for instance, actually I'll show you an example. So I did this, I had this book, Like a Girl, that I did last year, and one of the people I drew was Maya Angelou.
I love that.
Right, and so if you can see here,
Pull it a little closer to us too.
See, so here there's a caged bird singing.
Ah.
And Phenomenal Woman, which is in the poems. So the thing about Maya Angelou, that when she would write, is she would check into a hotel and she would pour herself a big glass of wine, which is also in here too, right here. She would pour herself a big glass of wine and she would either work on the floor or on the bed, but she would always be leaning. And she would judge her pieces, how well she did, by how big of a callus she had on her elbow at the end of her work.
Such a cool story.
And I'd love to know that. Yeah, so those are the types of things that when I read that, I just get like, ooh, I'm gonna include that.
Was that in the text that you were given, or was that you're poking around?
It was me poking around.
And so then you found that, and you fell in love with the character or
Right.
the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that allowed you to sort of connect more and then put that imagery in your illustration.
Right. And most people would look at that and not know why I had her weirdly laying on the bed. But that's it's important to me to add that stuff just because it tells more of a story, even if it's not widely known.
Yeah, that's really great. Do you have another example of research you did from that book, or any other situation, or
one of my favorite, so I also did this book, the Preschool Witches Spell book, and let's see, this is with Running Press. One of my favorite drawings that I did in here was I love space, I love astronomy, I love all of that, and I love the micro and the macro of everything. Let me see if I can find that image. But just studying the moon phases with the earth. I can't find it. Oh, here. I love this drawing. I just actually posted this for Earth Day yesterday. And so
this book?
Yes, yeah, that book. So these are, I'm actually forgetting what this is. I think this is sun, earth, and moon, the symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And just putting little like that. I love putting symbols in my work.
Yeah, and doing research. I am crazy about this. I took a photo of this for this webinar. I love your color, your line, the little details. Yeah, they're your little symbols on top, your little moons. Yeah. So beautiful. It's wonderful. Running Press.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, I got one for you. What makes a great art director? When you work with an art director, what do you love?
Well,
What makes you love them?
well, the first thing is just being nice. I like having just a very nice working relationship and just being pleasant. And I like it when they're excited and it makes me more excited. Um,
Hmm.
but I love a good creative brief. Um, but I also love it when they give me a little leeway to do what I want and that they're interested in seeing what I can come up with.
And they
Uh,
trust you. They trust
and
they,
yeah. And then
and
when
they
they're excited, I give them good stuff.
yeah, so their enthusiasm, their excitement. And can you give an example of a creative brief you've gotten that you really liked? Like what would be the penultimate creative brief?
Well, recently, I've been doing quite a bit of work with Chateau Saint Michel. They have a new product out called Fruit and Flower, is their new wine line that they're doing.
And
And
what is that? What is in that can?
ooh, glad you asked. It's This one is rosé. Sorry, the light is kind of, but so
So
there's gold.
it's wine in a can.
Yes, which is my passion. I love it, and they're so pretty. But the can itself is paper, and there's gold on it, which I love. But so they had for their creative brief, they had what they wanted me to draw, but also who the client was, what they would be using the product for. It was very specific, and that was very helpful, being that they had a specific idea of what they wanted. So that they laid it all out, and it was great, and just it makes it so easy.
I love that they tell you who the client was for. That's not typical that you
It
get that.
No, and I love that. That's probably my favorite thing that most people don't do, is saying who the client is
Mhm.
and what they'll be using it for. I love that.
And so that helps you sort of picture and focus. Is it like a certain age group? Is it male, female? Is it urban? Is it this? Is it like what do they like? And then you kind of that influences your color, your subject matter, right?
So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
When I was in college and in arts school, we'd get an assignment and I'd be like, so which magazine is this for? Because like that, I needed to know what the vibe was. I'm sure they
Right.
thought, well, let's just do the illustration, but I'm like, no, I need to know who the demographic is. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. So now people want to know, Mara, you've got 2 children,
Yes.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Tips on working from home. As an illustrator, you've been doing that for a long time. You've got some great tips and techniques, I'm sure. And for those people, art directors who have been working in an office and now suddenly home full time, of course, some have already been working full time. By the way, do you see Mara's wine bottle right there on my table? It's
I've
a
got
little,
another right here.
yeah. Let's crack some open, girl. So, so what tips do you have working from home?
So my desk literally is right here in the living room. So generally, I mean, because they're older, it's pretty easy. But now that everyone's been home and they've been schooling from home, we have a bunch of rules where everyone needs to get dressed in the morning. They have bedtime still. I have headphones that are soundproof, which have been
A godsend.
a godsend. And they're respectful of my time, and they're in class, all day, pretty much every day. But yeah, I'd say probably my number one is the headphones.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
then you don't have to get irritated and be like, hey, pipe down.
And I will say, you can't talk to me at all for 2 hours unless it's actually an emergency. So I can focus and get some stuff done.
Have there been actual emergencies?
Thankfully, no, and we're all healthy and good. We've just been inside for 43 days.
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to ask you, what are you reading these days or watching?
I am reading Julie Andrews' autobiography called Homework.
Oh, is it good? I'm writing
Yeah.
it in.
Oh, totally good. So I'm a Sound of Music super fan.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite. And yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know that her husband designed, he was a set designer. And so he did the set design for Mary Poppins and the costumes too,
Wow.
which
Yeah,
is the coolest thing ever, right? Yeah. So
totally.
it's fun because she's, friends with tons of famous people, and, all of her stories are like, oh, when Liz Taylor stopped by.
Oh, fun. That sounds so fun. Oh, good.
Totally.
Do you recommend it? Do you love it?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Oh, that's good. I'm getting it. Okay, boom. We're increasing sales of that book. So why don't we take a look at your gorgeous PDF that you put together for us? Shall we do that? Let me pop that on the screen. And so, nope. Okay, let's see. Here we are. Share. Boom. Okay, can you see? Can
I
you?
can.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, look what I didn't do the so I'm gonna go back to whoops, 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 well, a little preview. Okay, here we are. Okay,
This
so
colors I'm talking about. I mean, even though there's some dark ones, it's just like feeling soft and dreamy and cozy to me.
this is so beautiful. You know, it's funny, I was looking at our website. So this was on the newsletter today with our banner, and our banner is like this red, orange, and the chartreuse lemon. So I guess we're related.
Yeah.
Probably related.
Yeah.
Okay. So let us go to the next. Here we are. Tell us about this fabulous wine bottle project.
Yeah, so this is Chateau Saint Michelle has a new wine product out, or a new whole line called Fruit and Flower, and so I've been designing their labels for them, and they've just been absolute joy to work with. And the bottles are beautiful. The paper is beautiful, which I don't think I've ever really noticed on wine bottles before. That the paper is gorgeous and the gold foil and everything. I really loved working on this project. The people were great. Everything about it was awesome.
It's really beautiful. Okay, next. Should I go to next one?
Sure.
California. Tell us the story about this and what fabulous project it led to.
So a few years ago, my son is he's in an art school for middle school and high school. And so we decided to do a summer project together. And I came across a book of state flowers, and I said, oh, it would be fun, if we do it with a state. And so it was a project that we did together. So we were going to draw 3 flowers, 3 leaves, a bird, the banner, and the state shape. And so we did a bunch of those. And Moda saw those, and
Moda, the fabric company.
Moda Fabrics, and so I'm doing a whole regional fabric line for them for the whole United States. So far we've done the Southwest is out. This is from the Pacific states, and so I have that line with so there's panels for quilts or bags and tea towels too, of the state flowers. And then we also did illustrated maps for each state.
Should I go to the next slide?
Yeah, go to the next one. Yeah, so then we have, so this is California. So this is where I live in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, in Lake Tahoe.
Oh.
And so this is the Pacific Wanderings collection. And
so this is your fabric collection, and you got it because you had just done those personal states. We shopped those around as your agency, right. And right. You got the wonderful fabric collection, which is now, are you on your 3rd or 4th?
I turned in my 3rd, and I'm starting my 4th.
Yeah. So incredible. So beautiful. So exciting.
8 birds.
Any tips on doing a fabric collection like this? Like I see some are more repeat patterns, some are more icons.
You need like a big hero print that has a lot of information in it, and then the smaller, more, reduce the size, reduce the colors, and then like a ditzy, teeny tiny thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Next slide.
Next slide.
Next slide. Okay. Tell us about this.
So this is Rosa Parks from the Like a Girl book that I did. And yeah, so this, I wanted to make sure that the inside of the bus was correct and looked, it's green, which is totally cool. And yeah.
You did research on that, the bus of the time.
Yeah, research was wearing and everything that day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the next one. This is also from the book.
This is Babe Didrikson. I'm kind of obsessed with her. She was I can't remember like when this was, like maybe the 30s or the 40s. She was super athletic and she would beat men in everything. She was a boxer, she was a runner, she was a golfer, and she did everything, and she was better than all the men all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
what a trailblazer.
Yeah, she really was.
So the floral shirt, was that your doing?
Yes. Yeah. That was, it was yeah, it's clovers and ladybugs, because I thought she was lucky. So I wanted her to have a lucky shirt.
Ah, see, I love how the illustrator, how you're putting in like these little things, little cryptic things, and you can look and look and see more. Her shoes are fabulous, by the way.
11.
Those.
Oh, thank you. 11 is my lucky number. So I have that flag down there as 11.
That I always said when I was an illustrator, which was a long time ago, I always felt like I had to get in the role of whatever article I was illustrating or situation. I had to like become it. And that makes it so much more authentic and personal and rich. And I love how, like you just said, that 11, I think everyone watching this will remember that, like that great little touch. So cool. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, next slide.
I love this. Tell us about this.
So this is also from the Practical Witches spell book, and this was on the chapter, the love chapter for love spells. And yeah, and I've always been obsessed with Sacred Hearts. I think they're just the coolest.
What is Sacred Heart?
It is, so what it looks like is a heart with flames coming out the top. And yeah, it's a religious symbol, but I just think it's cool.
Cool. Visually cool. Who knows what it means, but visually it's cool.
Yeah. So that was
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
And you've used so many purples and plums and pinks and gold. Yeah. It's just so beautiful. And the background with the speckles behind it. And it almost looks a little like woodcutty or etching, like how your line kind of carves into the color behind it. It's very beautiful. I love the little word love in the middle, in the heart in the middle. The word love is so fabulous. It's really pretty. I love this piece. Well, I love all your work. I mean, duh, I'm your agent. That's why I wanted to represent you. So that's not a big news flash. Okay, this, which you actually did for the Global Talent Search way back.
Yes. So this became a card at Trader Joe's that was rolled recently. But so this was really fun. I loved working on that project.
It's just perfect that you do all these desserts. How about a dessert fabric collection?
Delicious.
Yeah.
I would actually illustrate a dessert cookbook.
Oh, okay, art directors, if you're listening, she wants to do a dessert cookbook.
Yeah.
And it's so important. What always fascinates me about my artists is each artist attracts work that reflects their personality and the work they show, but sometimes it's not like super obvious what work they show, but you get like all just the coolest mystical projects. I'm looking over you've got the zodiac embroidery kit, you've got what's the other mystical?
I have a dreams interpretation book that's coming out with Running Press in a few months that I just finished up, which was really fun.
Oh, that's so great. And then you'll hold up some products for us and we can look at those.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this. Gorgeous.
So my family and I took a drive down the Pacific Coast Highway last year. I'd never done it before, and I've lived in California my whole life. And it was so breathtakingly gorgeous.
Mm.
And cypress trees and the lupin, and we saw a bunch of whales, and it's just amazing. So amazing. The Monterey Coast specifically is, I think, the most beautiful place in the whole world.
It really is. I once slept in a sleeping bag on somewhere off that highway in Monterey with a cute guy with his guitar.
That sounds lovely.
I was much younger. Doesn't that sound romantic?
Certainly does.
Wow. I love I love the blue. Is that lupin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And each one is different. And like some are outlined, some are filled in, some are black with white in the middle or blue in the middle. And you just like can stare forever. And then you see the little boat on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the whales.
Triangles. The what?
And the whales in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's so much, but yet it reads really well. It reads really well. You like that story, Brenda. Thank you. That's great. Yes, Mama had a good past. It's going in the memoir one day. Okay, gorgeous. And I love like you did the Sacred Hearts, which were purples and plums and pinks. And then this is all about blue.
Yeah.
Blue, so beautiful. Okay, tell us about Rebel Princess.
I actually did this the day that she died.
Oh.
And it's like Star Wars was a huge part of my life, as it was with everyone my age. So I made this, but then this piece ended up inspiring the magnetic paper dolls that I did with Gallison.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. And you know what? I tried to find my magnetic paper dolls, but I couldn't find it. But people could Google it on Amazon. What is it called?
Girl Power. It's Frida Kahlo, Cleopatra, Queen Elizabeth I, and Amelia Earhart.
And we put it in the newsletter today. And I assume everybody watching got the newsletter, but if not, make sure you get our newsletter so you know about our next webinars. We're doing 11 of them, mostly every week. We skip a few weeks here and there. Let's look at the next one. Tell us about Tesla, this piece.
So this was this strange pet project that I had for myself. I had this book. I think it was called Our Universe. My grandmother actually had it. When I was a kid, it was a National Geographic book, but it was about all the planets and the cosmos and everything, and I was obsessed with it. But the thing that was so cool, so my grandmother was an astrologer, and so I grew up with that. And so within the book, there was this little panel on each page for each planet, and it talked about the Greek god and what they, it had all their attributes and how it matched the planet and all of that stuff. And I always thought that was the coolest thing. I did a report on it and everything when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. Anyway, so I had then assigned people, regular human beings, to each planet. And so this Tesla would be the Zeus, who rules Jupiter, and he's the god with thunderbolt, and so that would be a quote. Then I used one of his quotes that kind of went with that theme.
Here's what I love, to be a successful illustrator like you respect your brain, which I talk about a lot in my classes. You trust your brain, you respect your ideas, and you pursue them, and you go forward. And that's what makes a unique style, really. I mean, it's just, what a cool story. That was so great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide. Oh my God, you did this for the home decor class.
Home decor class, yeah.
It knocked my socks off. I hadn't seen anything like this. So beautiful. We really want to get you this licensed for these products. And one day we will. That's just So gorgeous. The variety of patterns you have, the charm in how you actually draw these, the kind of gold foil. I can't get enough. It's so good. Any thoughts?
Well, when I did when I did these, I actually was thinking like, who would I make this for? And also, I don't think that this would be totally obvious to anybody, but I had just seen the interior of Iris Apfel's house, and it's filled as you would expect. It's just
Iris Apfel.
luscious, and she has a lot of that. There was like mid-century, there was this big Asian influence, and she had a lot of stuff. So I kind of wanted to do that sort of Asian influence, mid-century feeling, but totally not at the same time. So that's what I was when I did this.
That's so fantastic. And what, I love hearing the story behind creating the art, like how you thought of making it for her or her house or around that. I just, again, that makes the piece, it gives you more point of view, which this clearly has. I love this. Okay, next one. Tell us about the dinosaur.
Okay, so
UFO. The UFO.
So yeah, so my son had said to me, he's like, you always draw flowers and birds. Like, why don't you ever draw anything scary? He's 15. And so I drew the scariest thing I could think of. a T-Rex in the jungle at night with a UFO. That is terrifying. So I drew this for him as my scary thing. He thought that was ridiculous, but I think it's
right. I know.
Scary.
It's hilarious. That is so good. That's you being scary.
Yeah.
The colors in this one are so beautiful. It's just magnificent. And little Alice at the bottom. Tell us about this.
I love fairy tales, and I love Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan are my two favorite stories. And I always love the caterpillar part because of being small in the garden and having everything so huge, all the leaves and the mushrooms and flowers and everything big around you. I thought that was the coolest. So I did this for the menagerie actually this year.
Oh yeah. The menagerie is our agency. What we do every January is, in the previous months, I give our artists a bunch of assignments and they create pieces from them, and then we show them. We do a big reveal to art directors. So be sure you're on our mailing list at LillaRogers.com. Sign up for the newsletter so you get all that goodness. This is beautiful. Did your interior design study in college help you get great with color? Or
I don't really think so. That's kind of always been my jam. When every project that I start, I usually I'm not great at sketching because I need to have the colors first sort of in my brain, and then they can change, but I get a vibe on it that way. So like I get the feeling of it first, and I have to do that through color. And so yeah, it kind of really just comes second nature to me actually.
yeah,
it's the easy.
I'm sure. The violets at the bottom, or pansies, are so beautiful. Okay, next slide. This was for home deck too, right? My home decor class.
This was actually for GTS a couple years ago.
Talent search. Yeah, well, I knew it was something like that for Matt's. I went insane over this.
Yeah, so this is like an example of like the symbols. I like to put symbols in. So this is all it's sacred geometry, which is a little bit funny because the way I like to use it is to have it be like wonky and lumpy, which isn't really then geometry after all. But I love the symbols. That feels, and the softness that I imagine these as dessert plates.
So the beautiful muted colors on the plates, on the backgrounds, really then make your bugs pop like jewels. The jewel colors, they become these really precious wonderful. Even though they're so tiny, they just are so gorgeous. And then all the little doodles in the background. It's just wonderful.
Thank you.
This is one of my favorites. Okay, tell us about this.
So blurry. This was just another like fun thing that I did on my own. I was thinking of, I'd like to add something kind of weird to everything I do. I feel like is so traditionally beautiful things, you know, like flowers and birds and stuff like that. And so I like to add something a little weird to it to make it feel more modern. And so that was just putting bats in with pretty flowers.
I think that's a great idea. I love that. And do you think you've gotten work from art directors that have responded to that twist?
They haven't said that outright. I would hope so, but I'm not exactly sure.
Well, I think the kinds of projects you get like this.
Yeah, right.
You get Like a Girl, which is not quirky in that way. But
right.
Yeah, it's cool. Tell us about this beautiful collection.
I just imagine these as kids' jammies. Autumn is my very favorite time of the year, and I just wanted to make some kids' jammies. I really wanted to have some kids stuff while I still had kids. You know, while they're getting older now, but I would love to do some jammies for kids because it's like my favorite kid thing to have.
Is that a flying squirrel?
Yeah, yeah, it is. And fall leaves, and acorns,
and the most beautiful oak leaves. I love the pattern on the pants.
Yeah.
This is also one of my very favorite pieces of yours. I forget what you did this for.
This was for, I think it was for boot camp last year.
Make Art That Sells. So I teach classes, if you don't know, I teach classes on makeartthatsells.com. And Mara took several of the courses. I was falling in love with her work, and then we took her on. So that is one of the ways I see people. You're not supposed to be on now. That's one of we've been finding artists, the past 20 artists. So it's gorgeous. I love how the glasses are clear. Yeah. I love the different flowers, the leaves, the watercolor on the leaves, how sometimes you use lines, sometimes you fill in. It's beautiful. Okay, and last but not least, tell us about this gorgeous tarot card.
So this also too was a boot camp assignment. And this is one of those things that I did that I didn't think I was going to have time for. And I was just like, oh, let me just do it tonight and see what I can come up with. And it's one of my favorite pieces, actually. So all the flowers, I don't remember what they mean now, but they all have meaning. Like, you know, love, love, yeah, fidelity, probably. They're all.
I just can't wait till you get a tarot deck.
I know.
What dream project do you want to get?
I really want a home decor line.
Yeah.
And I would love to do wallpaper. I think that would be
makes
fun.
Sense.
Yeah.
What else?
I love doing the mystical books. I think they're so fun. You know what I would really love is a few years ago, I think you actually really love this piece. It was a tea reading cup.
Oh, I love that piece.
Yeah, I'm forgetting what that's called, tassomancy or something like that. I would love to do something like that. I think it would be great.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Okay, so why don't you hold up a few of your products, and then we'll have a little time for questions.
Okay, so I had talked to you earlier about the fruit and flower. You can see this label better. The gold foil.
Yeah.
For their new wines, and so they have a rosé, which has the fruit and the flowers that are on there. And I love the paper label on this. I think it's the coolest thing.
And what's the top look like on that thing?
It's a can, but it's really skinny.
So it's like a beer can, but it's wine. Very cool.
But very thin. It's not big. And then this is the same as the wine label. It's nice. We love to go to Opera in the Park every year. And this is perfect for that. And then this is the bubbly, which is my favorite.
So
yeah.
very soft shading, really sweet.
Yeah, and these are what I was drawing inside the tent next to the pond in the middle of nowhere.
Great story. Everybody wants to be you.
So I did that Pacific Wanderings line, just came out with Moda. Let's see. They had this huge brochure for it, but let me see if I can. There's the different.
Fabric. So that's the fabric.
Yeah, different. But I have these little things that you can probably see better. My cousin has a VW bus, and so I drew that for the adventure part of the collection. Yeah, but I had done. I don't know if you can see this. It's just waves, but it's my favorite one. I love it.
A little closer. Oh, sweet. It's your wonderful line.
Yeah, and then also this with the whales underneath the fishing boats. I think that would be really fun, kids' jammies. So there's, a lot of those. And let's see. There is a line that's coming out now. It's called Tahoe Ski Week with Moda. And this is just one of the colorways, the black.
Beautiful.
We have skis pattern. We have a wonky plaid, some snowflakes,
beautiful,
some mittens and gloves. They're hanging up on the line so that it can dry.
And the beauty of your work is that you do the unexpected too. Like, the mittens are really interesting looking mittens, and there's variety, and even mittens, it's hard to really do them in a fresh way, but you did. And I think that's so important, that all the imagery you do is just like, oh yeah. Oh, that's the adjective. Oh yeah. Do you have anything else to show us?
Well, I've talked about this, the witch book, which I loved. I so love doing this project. I love that. The moon phases. Yeah.
We can both just I showed that already.
The money tree, you could see the gold coins at the bottom and the jewels. So you could plant your money tree by the light of the moon.
So beautiful.
Those, yeah. And then I have I showed you this too, the Like a Girl book, which was just so fun. It was all the portraits. This was the idea I had for this book. I don't know if you could see, was as I was doing this, I was thinking this really is like a teacher mentor book, because they're historical figures that have done wonderful things, but it's, you're talking to kids, and so you're teaching them how to be strong women. And so I thought of this as like an old school picture, right? When they would get the whole class together.
That's so great.
Here,
Earhart is in the class, Frida Kahlo, just the usual gang.
Daughter's in the class, my niece is in the class. So this was actually at some point was going to be the cover, but so with the school picture, and so then we ended up doing for the end papers, like a yearbook.
It's fabulous, like a yearbook. Brilliant.
So yearbook, and then in the bio section in the back, we had that be like school pictures with the bios.
Oh wow, what a great idea. Was that your idea?
Yep, that was all my idea.
And you bring so much more to a project. I think we're all really seeing how you get so absorbed, you give 110%, and that's why you keep getting cool jobs. which we love.
Yay, I love it.
Great. So let's see if we have any questions on here. I'm looking. So type in if you have any questions for Mara. Mara, Lori Rudolph asks, Mara, if you work in Illustrator, how are you creating your textures? Through scanned items, papers, found items, or digital brushes?
It depends on what it is. I use an app called, oh God, what's it called? Adobe Capture.
Mm.
And so I can use that for textures. But so for instance, like, here's a secret. Here's a hot tip. So when I add gold sparkly things to it, to images, I took a picture of pepper on my counter, like a sprinkled pepper with Adobe Capture. And then I was able to use that and then, you know,
turn it to gold.
Yeah, turn it gold. Yeah.
It looks like sparkly glitter.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. Really cool tip.
Yeah. I do a lot of textures I just do. So I also draw textures by hand, and then I will scan it, and then I will lay that over drawings that I do sometimes. But now that I'm working with that, that's how I used to do it. But now that I'm working with my iPad, I do everything just in Adobe Sketch.
Wow, that's amazing. So you can work anywhere at any time. Does
Yeah.
anyone else have any questions? Riley, hi Riley. Riley Wilkinson, who's an art director and friend, says, beautiful work. You really do your research. How much reference do you like to receive from art directors?
If they know what they want, I want it all. But if they just leave it up to me, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to do research no matter what, just because it helps me kind of get into the vibe of it. But yeah, if you have a specific idea, I want to know everything.
And how much research do you do? How much time do you spend? Are you able to rein it in and not like go down rabbit holes forever and cut into the work time?
No, I don't. But I do a big chunk at first, and so like I won't like, you know, let's say when I was doing my Angelou, I would read about her and then work on her, and then I would go to the next person. Yeah. So I just like to get like the little tidbits that are gonna help me know them better before I launch off.
So you know when you feel like, okay, I have a good handle and I'm excited. I have good information. And then
drawing like like I just was drawing all those mushrooms. I was like, I got to make sure that I'm not drawing poisonous one that I'm putting her hand, or you know, because I find stuff that's really cool, but I'm like, oh, that's totally poisonous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So lots of questions about your process. Brenda Harris says, what advice would you give an artist starting out building their portfolio?
Take all the classes. Maths.
Make art themselves. Thank you.
Life changing. Yeah.
That's how I found Mara.
Went to a fancy art school that you went to, and I have learned more in maths than I did by far in college. True story.
Well, thank you so much. Well, yeah, I went to fancy art schools too, and have 2 art degrees, and I love art school. I do. I do. But it's, you know, why I did MATS is I wanted creative people to make livings. I wanted them to be able, like, I wanted to give them the information so that they can.
It's such good information, and you're so good at it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I got you out of the deal, so it's all good. Lori McElrath Eslick says, Mara, the paintings behind you, did you paint them? So in other words, have you done master traditional painting and now master digital?
No, I did not do those. The big giant painting of the trees, I don't know if you could see that, was actually, my grandmother was a painter and an astrologer. And that was the first oil painting that she did, and it's of olive trees. And my daughter's name is Olive, so that was a special thing, for me.
Tidbit. What a great tidbit. Are there any last questions before we close up shop? Oh, that's the, I was like, wait, we were on for an hour and 20 minutes. Oh no, it's 1:20. Like, I'm trying to not go on and, I'm trying to keep it like good. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so, so much, Mara.
Thank
This
you.
was so wonderful. I
It
really,
was.
really enjoyed it. And I think everyone loved it. And the replay people who watch the replay are going to love it too. I learned things about you I didn't even know. So
Wonderful.
that's pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. So everybody have a wonderful day. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.